You have more blessings than you know. It's very easy to waste your life away thinking of how things should be all the time, rather than actually looking what's immediately in front of you and taking advantage of that, using it as opportunities and thinking of ways to actually improve the lot of a lot of people. And interestingly, there's a debate between a very famous tradcon, traditional conservative commentator called Michael Knowles, and he's done a debate, 2.5-hour debate that I watched earlier today with Pearl Davis, who's known as Just Pearly Things, and she's a red pill enthusiast and basically, men's advocate. And it was quite an interesting debate to watch, because what you'll observe with people, especially when they've got massive platforms and a position to maintain, just how, not blindly necessarily, but how vociferously and dogmatically people will stick to a position because they want to maintain, their base. But the truth is that they're constantly kind of talking over each other and desperate to be right and desperate to prove that their point is the only point and the only way of doing things. But we all want the utopia at some level. In our minds, we have an image of how things could be, how wonderfully joyful and abundant and peaceful things could be. But what the utopia requires is that everybody on the planet thinks, feels and behaves in exactly the same way. And it's a totally dystopian view, because the only way, and history has showed us this, that the only way you can achieve that is by forcing people into particular patterns of behavior. And we don't conform. we don't conform, because if that were true, I would still be working a traditional job. I would still probably be living in London. I wouldn't be in these glorious surroundings, and I would be, not necessarily quietly, going out of my mind, because it's not the scenario that I'm meant to be in. I know plenty of people who are perfectly happy living in cities, but I love being amongst the greenery and the nature and the expansiveness, and that to me is freedom, and that to me is opportunity. But it could be somebody's worst nightmare because they haven't got mobile phone reception as much as they would like to, compared to being in the centre of London or Manchester or wherever. So you have to start, and this isn't an order, but if you want to, whenever I say you have to, what I'm talking about is being peaceful and being able to actually get on with things. What's essential is that you are present. You're present to all the great and wonderful blessings that are immediately in front of you, rather than living a year or 5 or a decade into the future. The future is a time that never comes. You create your future by living in the present. Whatever you do now is what you're going to be doing. That's the world that you are creating, the choices that you are making now. And since being reunited with my boyfriend after an extended period of being apart, what's absolutely fascinating, and why I absolutely fundamentally know it's the right decision, is that for the first few conversations that we had, do you know what we were telling each other? How much we missed each other, and how much, in equal measure, frankly, that we were thinking about the other one all the time. We didn't stop. And we never stopped missing the person. We never stopped missing the fantastic times that we had together. And I'll confess, I went to bed reasonably early, fairly usual time last night. And I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. And I woke up feeling slightly disgruntled. And I always text my boyfriend in the morning. But he'd actually texted me because he was up super early, work stuff. And we had a text interaction, and I sort of found myself a little bit more disgruntled. And what was really nice, and this shows progress that you can make, ordinarily I would have kind of spiraled a little bit and I would have felt a bit panicked, a bit annoyed, but I kind of took myself out onto my balcony and looked at the river and thought, okay, look, breathe, come back down to earth. I haven't got as much sleep as I would normally get, and it wasn't great quality sleep what I got, and I thought, okay, it's all fine, bumps in the road, it's going to happen. But when you acknowledge all of the fantastic things that are in your life, and believe me, there are many, you can find them if you want to find them, you'll be able to deal with the bumps far more easily, because you'll realize that the majority of your life is not only really good and full of opportunity, but it is your choice how your life goes.